Alright guys, welcome to our second Loom broadcast. So again, today we're going to be taking notes. It's going to be on subatomic particles, okay? So label your notes subatomic particles. Right, you might be asking yourself what that even means, okay? Because chemistry is kind of a different language. So subatomic particles are going to be particles that are found within an atom, or particles that are part of an atom. So the three we're going to talk about today are protons, neutrons, and electrons. Alright, so write those down. We're going to talk about each one. So our proton, try to think in your head, what charge does a proton have? Alright, it has a positive charge. And these protons are found in our nucleus. And if you're unsure what the nucleus is, I'll kind of draw an atom to the right here, okay? So here is what our nucleus kind of looks like. And then this thing on the outside are the orbitals, all right? So your electron or your protons are found right in here in your nucleus. That's your nucleus, okay? And then we need to talk about the weight of a proton. So in atoms, when we talk about weight, instead of using, pounds or ounces or something like that, we use a unit called AMU. All right? So protons, they're going to weigh 1 AMU. Okay, that's their weight. All right, when you get those notes down, move on to neutrons. So neutrons, if you remember, they're neutral. So they have no charge, right? Okay, right, no charge. And these neutrons, they're also found in our nucleus. All right, and these neutrons as well, they weigh 1 AMU. Right, sorry, my handwriting's kind of bad. I'll try to make it better for these next ones. All right, so now let's move on to your electrons. Pause the video if you need to catch up on notes or re-watch something. Okay, but our electrons, they're going to have a negative charge. And they're actually going to be found orbiting our nucleus, okay? So they're found orbiting our nucleus. All right, so they're found in these orbits right here. And electrons are actually so small that we say they weigh 0 AMUs, okay? So if you take like a higher level chemistry class in college or something, you'll figure out the weight of electrons. But in this class, they weigh 0, okay? So again, hopefully you guys are copying down these notes. You're going to need it for the quiz on Friday. So make sure that you get it down so that you can study it. All right, now that we know what these subatomic particles are, we're going to actually figure out how we can find out how many are in each element. All right, so I'm going to scroll a little bit, and you're going to see that we have boron here. All right, let me try to move this up, if it will let me, so we can kind of look at our notes as we go. All right, so boron, if I were you, I would copy down this element in your notes, make a square, put a B in the middle, put a 5 on top, and put the 10.81 on the bottom. All right, so pause the video, copy that in your notes really fast. I'm going to keep moving on, though, and label it for you. All right, so also make sure you include these labels. So this B right here, that is our symbol. So if you look at the periodic table, each element has a different symbol. They're all unique. So boron is a B. All right, and then this little number at the top, it's called our atomic number. And our atomic number actually equals our number of protons. So write proton to the side. All right, so we can always figure out the amount of protons in an atom by the atomic number. The next number down here, the 10.81, is our atomic mass. And if you look up above, you can see the two atoms that contribute to mass. They're protons and they're neutrons, right? They both have 1 AMU. So we know that the atomic mass, our mass, equals our protons plus our neutrons, all right? That'll be important later on. So now, with this information, make sure you copy it down. Again, pause the video if you need to catch up on notes. But with this information, we can figure out the amount of protons, neutrons, and electrons in an atom. So, for our number of protons, remember we said that is our atomic number. So for boron, that's going to be 5. All right. Our amount of electrons, for today, we're going to say our protons and our electrons are equal. As you can see right now, boron doesn't have a positive or negative charge on it. So when there's no charge on it, our protons and our electrons are going to be equal. So we're going to have 5 electrons as well. Later on in the class, we're going to work with some that are different. But for today, protons and electrons are equal. And now we need to figure out our amount of neutrons. So to figure out our amount of neutrons, remember we have to use this equation right here, okay? So let's plug in our numbers. So our mass is going to be 10.811. In this class, we're going to round, okay? So we're just going to round so that it's just 11. So it's going to be 11, and that's going to equal 5, right? We got the 5. That's our number of protons right here, plus our n. So then we're going to minus 5, and we get 6 equals n. So now we have 6 neutrons. All right, hopefully we feel comfortable with all that. If you're confused, go back, watch that again, and know how to do it, because you're going to need to fill out some of these on the worksheet. We're going to move on to now a different way that they might give it to you on your test, okay? So they might write it out like this instead. They might give you Li, and then put a 7 up here and a 3 down here. All right, I'm going to label it again for you guys. Let me just switch colors so we're not in black for this. Okay, so this Li right here, this is our symbol again. It tells us what our element is. And then this right down here, our smaller number is going to be our atomic mass, or our atomic number. And remember, that's our number of protons. And then the bigger number up here is our atomic mass. All right, so take maybe 30 seconds, pause your video, and see if you can figure out the amount of protons, the amount of electrons, and the amount of neutrons in this atom based on these numbers, okay? All right, hopefully you guys pause the video. I'm going to go over it. So our amount of protons is going to equal our atomic number, remember? So that's going to be 3. And since there's no charge on this element, our proton and our electron is going to be equal, and that's also going to be 3. And then our neutrons, again, remember, our mass, the 7 up here, it equals our protons plus our neutrons. So again, 7 is going to equal protons plus neutrons. We know the protons are 3, so 7 equals 3 plus n. So we can just 7 minus 3, and we get 4 equals n. All right, hopefully that math makes sense to you. If not, come to my Zoom meeting on Friday and ask me some questions, and we can figure it out. All right, we're going to work on a different way they might give it to you. So sometimes they might give it to you just like this. They'll just say like sodium 23. Or they might give you Na23. The Na is the element symbol, again, like we've been working with. The sodium is the element name. And then they just give us a 23, which is only one number. We're used to working with 2 numbers, right? So we need to figure out the other number. So this 23 right here that they gave us is our mass number, okay? That's our mass. They have to give you that number. If they don't, you can't really do the problem. So since we're given our mass number, we need to figure out how many protons are in there. What's our atomic number? So to figure out our atomic number, we have to go to our periodic table. So I inserted a periodic table down here, and we need to find, we're looking for sodium, or Na. All right, so sodium is going to be on this left-hand side over here. And when we look at sodium, it will tell us the atomic number. The atomic number never changes for sodium. It is always going to be 11. If the atomic number changes to 12, that is magnesium now. It is not sodium anymore. Okay, do you see that? it is 11 for sodium. You know, it's 12 for magnesium, 13 for aluminum. So it changes, and it changes the element. So you can't change your number of protons and have the same element. The same element always has the same number of protons. So for these ones, when they only give you one number, your first step is to go to your periodic table and find what your atomic number is. All right? So for this, we figured out that sodium's atomic number is 11, right? So since sodium's atomic number is 11, we know that the amount of protons in sodium is 11, right? So that means our amount of electrons are also 11. So now, remember, to get our amount of neutrons, we take our mass number, 23, and we minus it by our number of protons, which is 11. And for this one, we should get 12. Okay, 12. So that's how we do those. They might also sometimes give you a picture. And in this picture, they'll give you something like this. Okay. So in this one, they might ask you the number of protons, neutrons, and electrons. In that case, you just add them up. So protons, if you look in our nucleus, they're the ones with the positive in it. So there's 2. Our neutrons are things in our nucleus without any positive. So that's 2. And our electrons are in our nucleus, or not in our nucleus, they're orbiting our nucleus, and that is 2 as well. So from this information, you can actually figure out what element this is. Okay, if you take this information, remember, the proton equals our atomic number. So if we go and find our atomic number, that's 2 on our periodic table. Okay, you'll see it right here in this corner, 2. So we know that this element is actually helium. All right, so sometimes they can have you work backwards and give you the picture and ask you for what the element is. Another thing they might do, and that's going to happen on your homework, is they're going to give you something like this, where they're going to write helium, and then they're going to do 2 electrons around it, like this. And they're going to ask you for the number of protons, neutrons, and electrons. So you'll have to go to your periodic table, find helium, and see that it's 2. And then count your number of electrons, those are 2. And then for helium, you know the atomic mass is 4, so you do 4 minus 2 to get your amount of neutrons, which would be 2. Alright, those are the different things that you'll have to do for this worksheet. Please feel free to watch this video again. Watch any of the things that you would need a review on. Write down any questions. Bring them to the office hours I will have on Friday and ask them for me. Your quiz is going to cover this, so make sure you know it. Fill out that worksheet. Hope you feel comfortable with it. Please reach out to me with any questions that you guys might have, okay? I'm always here to answer them, and I'm always happy to help. I know it's hard to do distance learning and to just try to get all the information from a video. So please ask me if there's anything that doesn't make sense or that is confusing, and I'll try my best to answer you, okay? All right. Hopefully, I'll be able to talk to you guys soon and see you guys at the Zoom meeting on Friday.